Almighty author and finisher of everything that is good, we ask you to begin this program with us. We ask you to inspire the speaker. We ask you to inspire all moderators, all those who are working behind the scenes. We ask you to open up our hearts that we may learn a lot to help us in our relationships with each other, and especially for those who are preparing for marriage or are in marriage, those who are in some relationships, that you, O God, will grant them every grace from the heavens to sustain their relationships, to know when to quit, to know what to do to make it better, and to know exactly what your divine will is for whatever relationship they find themselves in. Let today be a blessing to many. We make our prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Let's give it up for Kofi Annan. We can do it better. The Lifeline. The Lifeline. Good evening to you all. So you are welcome to the second episode of Tears of an Ice Cake. In the first episode, we identified what a toxic relationship is. And today we have another interesting topic to treat. But before we go into the topic, let's acknowledge the following people. So first, we want to acknowledge our own Reverend Father Hilary Agbenosi for all the support he has been giving us. Let's clap for him. Then to the Church Pastoral Council and the Church Youth Council for helping us. Let's give it up for them too. Then also Bakita Media. They are responsible for all the underground works. Give it up for them too. So as usual, I'm not here alone. My co-host will soon join us. Then we get started. So, Andrina.
Jose.
Hello, I can't hear you.
Jose.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Another Friday.
Yeah, we are here again.
Yeah. And today's topic looks much more interesting than that of episode 1.
Well, we'll see. We don't want to spoil the fun just yet.
Okay. But after identifying whether our relationship is toxic, you and I, what's up? Is it toxic or is healthy?
Very healthy.
Pardon?
Very healthy.
So I'm not possessive.
Nah.
I'm not quick-tempered.
Oh, not at all.
I'm not a user. Oh, clap for me. Clap for me. Charlie, husband material, full piece. Ombonse. So, Andre,
Yes, Jose.
so you are ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Very ready. Okay. So with us today, we have a man who doesn't like to be called Reverend Father Anthony Efie. He wants us to call him Father Tony. Let's give it up for Father Tony. Father Tony Akwaba.
Yeah.
Hey, Ija. I hope you are well.
Well, as you can see.
You look fit, rough.
Yes, like you and Andrina. Yeah.
Hey, that one, you leave it for later. We'll finish it.
No back door. Let's do it here.
Some people are this thing here. Oh.
Okay, we'll see.
I hope you had a good week.
Well, God is still on the throne. It's been
Thank
fine.
God.
Nobody's draining me yet, so.
Nobody's draining you.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so that's our guest for today, Father Tony, and he's going to help us treat the topic coping in an emotionally draining relationship. So he's going to give us all the skills we need to cope in an emotionally draining relationship. Let's give it up for Father once again. The Lifeline. The Lifeline. Okay, so Father.
Jose.
Yankwe. So I have this friend. He has been in a relationship for 3 years.
Okay.
This is almost the 4th year. And then he says there is no day.
There is no...
Day. Day, as in da. Da be anywhere.
Okay, day, okay.
There is no day that they haven't quarreled or the lady insulting him. He's tired. He wants to give up. He doesn't want to give up. What should he do?
Well, that means he's been able to cope till now for 3 years. But the person is not dead yet.
Not yet dead.
Okay.
He's in that corner.
Well, then the person is trying.
But right now he says he can't go again.
You see, if you are a driver, let me not go into next week, but let me put it this way. If you're a gentleman or you're a lady and your bladder is full from outside and you feel you cannot hold it again, it doesn't mean that you can do it in open air. You may have to at least take a few steps to the nearest washroom or the nearest secluded area where you can release the passengers you took. So I'm indirectly saying that if he thinks he can no longer go on, he should find the nearest washroom to offload the passengers he took 3 years ago. That is if he's a gentleman. But if he's not a gentleman, all he has to do is to just call the person and say it is over. And that is it. But a gentleman or a lady would find a very gentle way and a pleasant way of releasing such things. So what I'll say for now is you should find the nearest washroom. And one of the funniest I heard today on one of the radio stations is, if you want to break up with your boyfriend, he says, what's the funniest way of breaking up? He says, just send the person a message that our relationship is so nice. So let's break on a good note like this.
Wow.
Okay. But maybe it's a teaser for next week.
Okay.
It's a teaser for next week. Watch out for how to break up and how to handle.
Let's give it up for Father. Andre,
Yes, Jose.
over to you. Let's go.
Father, we had some listener letters or some messages from a few of our viewers, and would like you to answer to them before we move on with the show. So
I thought you promised me that you asked me a question about how my staff has trained me. Let's do that one and I'll go to your questions.
sorry.
Okay, so I'm supposed to answer some
I
questions.
want us to deal with that because it has something to do with last 2 weeks show.
Okay.
Then we move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Angina. My girlfriend and I, she's 24 and I'm 27, have been dating for a bit over 3 years now. And while I'm very much in love with her, I feel like our relationship has become very, very draining. For the last 3 months, she has been dealing with a lot of emotional issues, from anxiety to having to confront an issue in her past that has resurfaced. We've always been there for each other. She's helped me work out a lot of things, and I've done the same for her. But it just seems that she's been having issues almost on a weekly basis now. It's sometimes very mundane things. Yesterday, she had an emotional breakdown again. Although I love her to death, I'm not a therapist. I'm not against her coming to me when she has a problem, but she has a problem all the time now. Andrina, I'm tired because it's become too much. My girlfriend seems very emotionally sensitive, and the smallest issues break her down. It's beginning to drain me, and I'm considering breaking up with her. What should I do?
Wow. Okay, so with this one, I would give detailed, and better ways of dealing with such things when we meet next 2 weeks. However, I can't leave our listeners out in suspense. So everybody has a limit. We call it the emotional elastic limit. Like any elasticity, it gets to a point you can't go beyond it. So the gentleman asking the question must be able to know his limit and certain things that he cannot cope with. And so those things that he cannot cope, he should learn to find a third party, either an elderly person they both respect or a professional counselor or psychologist who will help them handle those ones that he cannot cope. So it's just like any medical field. If in case maybe I'm having running stomach or something, I can just go and get some pill to calm it. And if I realize that I still can't stop it, I will have to go and see a doctor. Okay, so it's good that he's trying to be there for the guy, for the lady. But if he feels that it's getting too much on him, then it's good they get, somebody who is a mentor for the two of them over. Yes.
We are about to deal with it.
That, yeah.
Can we have the second one? We had about 3.
My
so
fiancé and I have been together for 3 years, and he recently proposed. When we decided to announce it to his family, his mother and sister have been on a spree to tear me apart. Constantly, they have implied I'm a gold digger and manipulative. Just the other day, my fiancé asked me to check something on his phone for him, and when I unlocked it, messages with his mother were open. She was telling him that I was cheating on him and that her friend saw me with another man. My fiancé shut her accusations down, but I'm so hurt and confused. I don't know what I have done to make his family hate me, but I am not happy. Is there anything to do or anything I can do to make them stop without ruining my relationship?
Wow. With this, there is one thing I wish the person was live, and I pray that the person is able to connect with me. I would want to know more why they are thinking so. Two things. One, and let all our listeners and viewers know that if you are a suspect, don't give evidence. You know, there are some people already, it is assumed, which for me it is ridiculous, that ladies are all in for money for guys. It's not everybody who is like that. Okay, so already you are a lady and you are a suspect. So why do you give evidence? Or it's assumed that all gentlemen are cheats. So why do you want to give evidence? Why do you want to be hanging around with girls? So with the first thing that the lady would have to know is to learn to be on her own, so that basic things she can prove, unless she cannot provide at all before she asks, or she'll be giving evidence to something that may not even exist at all. So it's likely she may have asked one or two things before, which is giving evidence to what they are thinking of her. The second one is what we call an emptiness syndrome. It's likely that the gentleman, normally when there's a gentleman or lady who is very, very respected and respectful at home, very helpful, when such people are going into relationship, the family begins to fight against it. Imagine I have a son, or I have a daughter, a very pretty daughter. She's always with me. Everything is fine. We are moving on and all. Then all of a sudden, a gentleman is taking her away. I'll begin to feel down, and I'll begin to hate the gentleman who is coming to take my daughter away. Not because I'm a wizard. Some people think that is witchcraft that does that. No. We call it an emptiness syndrome. I feel you are taking my daughter away or my son away. Okay, so those ones are there. So if our listener could, your language now is onhukume. Onhukume. Then we'll talk more about that.
Okay. So we'd have the last one, and then.
I'm kind of lost right now. I love this person a lot, and we've been serious for almost 4 years. So every year I come into like a situation where my trust is destroyed, and then afterwards I get caught up in the emotions again, and then I try to put the relationship forward. I just see a never-ending pattern, and I need some outside perspective, because this is only my second relationship, and maybe I'm just terribly naive. I don't know. I need some help.
Okay, so I think for this one, we can go for the answer for the first one. Okay, when you are going into a relationship, try to get somebody, an elderly person who understands you. It may not necessarily be your parents, especially there are certain periods, don't talk about relationship in the house.
Exactly.
Okay, but if you have a parent who is very, very open, I mean, that is cool. Okay. But if you don't, find an elderly person, somebody to mentor you. Not your own mate, because you are both naive. But if you find an uncle, you know, not all uncles are grown. Okay, I have about, I think as we talk now, officially I have 13 grandsons.
Wow.
No, 7 grandsons and 6 granddaughters. But I'm not that old, so I may not be that too old than my nephews and my nieces who have given birth.
Yeah.
You understand? So you may find an uncle or an auntie who is not too old, who understand your generation, and you talk to such a person and it helps.
Okay. Well, we'd like to thank all our listener viewers, and we hope that you send your issues in and we'll address it. So, Father, today's topic is coping in an emotionally draining relationship. I'm just wondering, why would anybody want to cope in such a thing?
Well, there are several reasons why people would want to stay in a relationship that is honestly draining them.
Okay.
But I've been able to read around, I've been able to, you know, for all these years of professional service, and even in a priesthood, found out 10 reasons why somebody may have to stay. 10.
That's
and
strange.
I will take my time to go through them, but will not waste our listeners and our viewers' time.
Sure.
The first one is when society approves it.
Okay.
So if you are in a society where it is considered normal that all women must cook and wash Their husbands must cook food, wash, clean, do everything. And you are in a relationship and your boyfriend is saying, come and watch for me and do this, and if you are not doing it, it's like you realize that relationship is draining you. However, society has endorsed that form of abuse.
Okay.
So sometimes it creates a form of confusion, and it makes people stay in a relationship that is draining them. Okay, so I know of a society somewhere, I don't want to mention, somewhere that we know that if you are not a man who can command your wife and beat her up when she misbehaves, yes, then you are not a man. So I met a lady from that society, and we're talking. He says, Father, it's good that you became a priest, though. I was like, how? He says, because if you're in my hometown, Obabi and Waro, you are too gentle.
Oh, so the ladies like the men
Yes.
like that?
So society has endorsed such things. Okay. So there are some societies in the Asians where it is women that must propose to men.
Yes.
Or in Ghana, men must propose to women. So you realize that is what society has endorsed. So you are in a relationship with somebody. You know you love the person loves you. The person has not said, I love you yet, has not proposed yet. And you can't do anything, you have to wait.
Yeah.
That's the first point. The second point is that when the abuse has gone on so much that you have lost your self-worth.
Oh.
Okay, so I know of a lady that told me that, she came for therapy. There is a way of measuring how worth you are to yourself. And out of the upper limit of 20, the person scored 3. 3 out of 20 self-worth. Can you imagine? So if it's 3 out of 20, then we are looking at 15% of self-worth. Why? Because the boyfriend is from a seriously rich home, and the boyfriend is bossy and keeps insulting her that she's like this, and so she accepts that she is nobody. It's like you have said it again and again and again and again.
Yeah. Okay,
so when your self-worth is lost, sometimes you may be in a relationship, you'll be like, oh, let me accept it as it is. Okay. I think that there's some signals coming from somewhere, and I remember you told me you wanted to ask me a question before I continue with the rest of the 8.
I wanted to ask if fathers go through emotionally draining relationship. I mean, relationships are not just between a man and a woman, or we are not just talking about married couples. Fathers also have relationships with their parish.
It's not even about parish and osofu. Sometimes even osofu and woman.
Wow.
Yes, you see, one funny thing is, it's assumed that if you are a Catholic priest, your friend cannot be a female. And so sometimes you are down, everybody is coming to Father. Okay? And when Father is down, who do you go to?
God.
You get it? So we find ourselves in an environment of drain. Okay, but this is where just when I was walking in, somebody drew my attention to somebody. Someone who is a brother, who is a friend. I think he is the most handsome priest I've ever met in the Archdiocese of Accra, not Accra Archdiocese, the whole metropolis, so Koforidia, Don Kokro, like Charlie, that priest now. I've always told him that Obebrepa, but and yet with so many years, this gentleman has made it, and almost all youth love him. And so when I was walking in, somebody told me that, Father, please, tell your host that we are going to take 5 minutes of your time. And that is the man I'm talking about. And so, I don't know. Where are my brothers? Okay, so can we have Jose give us a story, and we invite a brother around to tell me when they are ready. Just signal me. When you are ready, just signal me. So let me continue.
Yeah.
So that is it. The church can drain you. The environment can drain you. Even relationship, people will drain you. And for the priesthood, don't even go there. If you are not strong, you may not make it. You may not make it. Well, so I'll
Yeah.
go to the third point.
Sure.
Yeah. The third point is, when there is a recycling, okay, there are certain things that are happening and the person seems to recycle the hurt. So I abuse you. I abuse you, and the more I abuse you, the more I come back to say I'm sorry.
Okay.
So somebody asks me, for instance, which one is good? Do you want a gentleman who is non-romantic? The person never tells you I love you, nothing. Okay, but the person will not even hug you, will not check on you, but the person will never cheat. Or do you want somebody who is always cheating and will come back and say, I'm very honest, I'm sorry, I cheat. You didn't even catch me. I have brought myself, today I cheated. I'm coming to say sorry. Okay, there are certain people who find themselves in a recycling relationship, where when they are hurt, when they feel hurt, their partner will always come back and sincerely say sorry. Okay, so you find a person in such a relationship and you ask yourself why. It's because it's a recycled relationship. I've seen a woman who would go and be at the doorstep of a man and cry and cry and cry, and the man will even have pity, more pity than mercy cream, more pity than Jesus Christ himself, and forgive. So you can't even look into this woman's eye and say, go away, I don't like you again.
Yeah.
You see, and you are in a relationship that is draining you. That's another one. That's the third one. And when there's no better option, when you are caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, it's just like Ghana pothole. In Ghana you don't dodge potholes in Ghana. I hope you know that.
Yeah.
You only select the less.
The less bumpy ones.
Exactly. So sometimes you meet a gentleman who is a drunk, okay, and you meet a gentleman who is a cheat, and that's the two you have. You have to choose. So in your environment, fortunately, many of your viewers, I guess, are in very civilized environment, and I'm not surprised. Most of your, I should say almost, or all of your viewers or in-studio viewers are in stable. So you may not get it, but if you are from an environment that I know, for instance, in Accra, where all the guys are doing cracks, you meet a gentleman who is taking only tobacco. It's not a nice person.
I mean,
yeah. So when you find yourself in a relationship that is draining, it's a better option. You have no way but to stay in. The next one is when you get a wrong counsel. Counsel as in somebody advising you. Okay. Oh, for the sake of the children. Oh, for the sake of the children, stay. And you have such advice coming in. It puts a problem. So when you get wrong counsel too, people stay because of wrong counsel. Another thing is when you seem to feel you are the cause. Okay, so for instance, you are in a relationship where I know this lady in a relationship. The gentleman is more than 5,000% possessive. You are even when you are going for communion, and you see your fellow, lady, you even tend to say, "Small, hey, why are you looking there?" Do you know why? Because the lady was the cause. The lady was caught cheating. Okay. She stopped. She repented. But the guy is still having it. So it's like she knows very well that she has caused the gentleman not to trust her. And that's why he is making sure that I will not give you space. So in that case, you realize that, why is this lady still in this relationship? For all you know, he's a cause. Or why is this gentleman in still this relationship? He's a cause.
But in that case, the man too should at least understand.
Well, and when there is a false hope, there are some people who think that they are St. Monica's and St. Augustine's. So they are hoping that one day things will change when there is a false hope. So when that happens, then it's another reason why people are in a relationship. Sometimes people are also living in the prisons of other people's lives. In the prison. So oh, so you and I are dating. If we quit, what will others say? So I'm living in the prison of what people will say. Okay, so we are in one society, especially if you are in one society or one class or one working space. So we are in the office area and we are dating. If I quit, what will people say? Or if
The
I'm in a
societal pressure
exactly.
involved.
So when we are in the prisons of other people's thoughts, the last but one is you have too much to lose. Okay, I know this gentleman and lady, they started dating for 3 years. They bought a land together, started developing, and at a point in time, it got to a point they realized that both of them, the gentleman was AS and the lady was SS.
Oh.
Genotype wise, so it wasn't the fault of the gentleman, it wasn't the fault of the lady, but genotype wise, they couldn't. So they have lost. There's so much they will lose.
Yeah.
Okay, and sometimes to imagine your girlfriend's father is your boss and your employee. Okay, so you realize that the job that you are doing is also a very unique job.
Yeah.
If you quit that relationship, you are in trouble.
They will
So
reduce the
sometimes
salary.
you have so much to lose. And the last one is what people also don't do. We call it social accident. People have accidents in life.
Okay.
So, for instance, last week I was with a man who was telling me that, the girlfriend's boss raped her.
Okay.
And she wanted to see a professional counselor to deal with the head. And it's a serious abuse.
Yeah.
To deal with the head. That was the same week that the gentleman lost the father. So there was an emotional accident. The guy has had an accident. The father is gone. And the girl is crying and is making the guy feel like, you are not there for me. But the guy cannot be there for you at this material.
Yeah, exactly.
But she is also being drained. So both of you have had an accident. Who is helping who? Okay, so when there is an emotional accident happening to either one or both parties, then both of you may have to stay in the relationship that is draining you. Your boyfriend is not even listening to you, but you can't also leave because you know very well that your boyfriend is in an accident.
Yes.
Yeah, so these are the 10 things that you would want to. That is giving reasons why people are still in a relationship that is draining them.
So this implies that if you are facing some emotional problems, it could, in a relationship, it could drain the relationship basically.
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll take some questions from the audience if they have any.
Any contribution? Any question?
Father, so I would like to hit a few pressure points. From the last episode, you did mention a few, should I say, points that happens to deal with identifying toxic relationships. And then off my head, I can think of a user, somebody who belittles you, and the others.
Yeah.
So how can you cope with those 8 lines that you give? How can you cope, for instance, with somebody who belittles you?
Okay.
Because with somebody who belittles you, you should know that that is not going anytime soon.
Okay.
Because anytime you try to upgrade to catch up, the person will find ways and means to bring you down so that he can always be on top. For somebody who uses you, how can you cope with somebody who uses you? And then the same question runs through to all the other 8 points.
Okay. If a few minutes to the end of this show, you have not had an answer to the question you are asking right now, come for your money.
Don't collect it from you.
I collect it from Jose. I've given him enough.
So any other? Any other question, contribution?
Okay.
Okay.
So, Father, in an event where I am the emotionally draining one, how then do I cope with my own self?
Okay.
What then do I do? If I know I'm the emotionally drained, I may not be in a relationship, but then I know that when I get around people, I drain them because of probably my anxiety, my fears. How then do I cope?
Well,
How then do I cope with myself? This
okay,
is
so
more like
when you
a
realize
self
that
thing.
you have realized that you are likely to be the emotionally draining person, or you are the supposed draining person.
Yeah.
When that happens, all that you have to do is this one: you have to seek a professional counselor or a professional psychologist. Deal with yourself first, but you can only go there if you accept the fact that you have a problem.
Okay.
Okay, I love it when it is said in my language. I know you may not understand my language very well, but you know, I'm from Kumerica, you understand?
Oh, okay.
I just didn't want to slang. You understand me here?
Oh yeah, that's good, man.
Wagwan, wagwan.
Yeah.
Let me see your shouting.
Yeah. You see, in my language, we say that if you have a tummy ache and you don't show your teeth, we will not know. Yes. Uyemi oya no one feel was there. How will I know that you uyemi oya or you have a tummy ache? Until you tell me.
Obviously.
If you have a headache, until you let me know, I will not know because it's you. It's in you. You get it? So if you realize that you have a problem, first of all, acknowledge that you have a problem and show your teeth.
Sure.
That's all. Let a professional attend to you. Get yourself sorted and you'll be fine.
Okay. So first of all, I have to accept that I have a problem.
Yes, you have a problem.
Acceptance is very difficult.
But it's the beginning of wisdom.
Well, we'll get there. So Jose,
Yeah.
I believe you have something else for us.
I want us to listen to some music
Okay.
for now. When we come back, then we'll continue.
All right.
So whilst they prepare, I take some messages from YouTube.
Okay.
Joseph Amponsem says, wow, I'm really loving this. George Pio Kwanzaa says, very educative program. Anthony Asubontin says, this program is very insightful. Kudos, Father. Then from Facebook, we have Philsi saying, Father, you are welcome. Then also, Beatrice Agbenu says, a lot is being revealed today. Just loving it. Lily Adoba says, very educative. Thanks, Father Tony, for the insight. Hey, Father, it be like the teachings are going far.
We thank God.
Ankwe John the Baptist. Father Tony, I am learning. Maybe this one too is for me. Father Tony, Jose is learning.
Yes, come for exams.
Okay. So now, without much ado, I invite Ferdinand and Joycelyn. Let's give it up for them. Oh, we can do better. We can do better. The Lifeline.
Wise men say only fools rush in, flows surely to the seas, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. So take my hand, take my whole life too. If I can't help falling in love with you. You and me were made about, for better or for worse. I can't believe you let me down, but I prove it's in the way it hurts. For months on end I had my doubts, denying every tears. I wish the school be over now, but I know I still need you here. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only one. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only one. And I know it, 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 I know I'm not the only one. And I know it, 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 I know I'm not the only one. Everybody loves the things you do, from the way you talk to the way you move. Everybody here is watching you, 'cause you feel like home, you're like a dream come true. And if I change you here alone, can I have a moment before I go? And so you moved overseas, hoping you're someone I used to know. You look like a movie, you sound like a song. My God, it reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light, in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we were sad of getting old. It made me restless. It was just like a movie, it was just like a song. I've been so scared to face my fears, 'cause nobody told me that you could be here. And I swear you moved overseas, and that's what you said when you left me. You still look like a movie, you still sound like a song. My God, it reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light, in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we were sad of getting old. It made me reckless. It was just like a movie, it was just like a song. When we were young, when we he keeps holding on, hoping that it hasn't gone. 'Cause I still care. Do you still care? It was just like a movie. It was just like a song. My God, it reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you with this light in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we were safe. Getting old, it made me restless. Oh, I'm so mad, I'm getting old, it made me reckless. It was just like a movie, it was just like a song when we were young.
Wow. We can do it better. We can do it better. The Lifeline. Oh, don't leave. Don't leave. I'm coming to you and you're going. Why? What's up? Oh, your mic is off.
We're good.
You're good. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, are you nervous?
Not really.
Are you sure you're fine?
Yeah, we're good.
But you're not sounding like the way you were singing. Are you sure you're fine?
Once the music stops, we get back to our personalities.
Hey. So what got you to music?
Initially, I wanted to learn an instrument to teach my kids in the future. The one who brought me into church music is actually Joycelyn.
Wow. Let's clap for her. Madam Joycelyn, what got you into music?
It has just been something I do in a bathhouse. And then and then one time they needed some meat for a Wednesday mass, and I don't know how they knew I could sing, and they just called me, and I called Freddy. And then since then we've been doing it for a year now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Please, I've also been singing my battles. If you need youth for program, call me. So, the guitar, how did you learn?
I've been mostly YouTube videos, and I have a couple of friends who actually are way better than me. So when they play, I watch and I practice when I get home.
Hey, Charlie. Clap for them. So do you have any musician you admire? Babu.
No, not one I can actually say in the church, but probably in the church, Joe Metal. Yeah, and I love the harmonious chorale.
Charlie, what about you?
Okay, just Adele and Simi
So you mentioned my name.
and Jose Francis.
That's it. Okay, so this is Ferdinand and this is Joycelyn. If you need them, find me. You'll get their contact. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go back and join those online to see what they have for us. The questions are coming in plenty. I don't know which one to ask. Hey, the questions are not showing again. Oh. Okay. So the first one, I hope Father is listening. Augustus Akins says, please, how do you turn a coping relationship to a loving one? Then the next is from Francis J.K.M. Amuzu. How does one deal with a relationship based on a one-sided effort? So I think Father is ready to address them for me. So the first, I'll take it again. How do you turn a coping relationship to a loving one?
Well, for that, on the lighter side, I think I'll have to forward that question to Jesus in John chapter 2, how he turned the water into wine. But I think it's all about trying to deal with the substance of the issue. You know, people deal with symptoms of the issue and not the substance of the issue. That is, if somebody is aggressive in a relationship, it is good you deal with what is causing the aggression and stopping it. But people will prefer dealing with only the aggression. Aggression is just a sign of a deeper problem. So to turn a coping relationship or a draining relationship into a better one, find out the source of the issue, the actual issue, and if it is possible to deal with it either from a professional way or from even a casual way, once you deal with it, it becomes a better relationship. So that is the answer I'll give the person.
Okay. Then the second is, how does one deal with a relationship based on a one-sided effort?
That is another form of, I think that's what we are going to dive into. But the issue is, emotionally draining relationship is not only physical or emotional abuse. There is a fourth kind of abuse that people don't know, which we call the neglect abuse. You know, if I'm in a relationship with you or we are in a marriage, I don't talk to you for 6 weeks. We lay on the same bed, we bath in the same bathroom, and I don't talk to you. It would be better it was physically abusive, because neglect abuse is equally very, very hurtful. So find out exactly what the problem is, deal with that problem, solve it once and for all, and you are good to go.
Okay, that's all for now. Okay. Let's give it up for Father.
Well, Father.
Okay, let's go.
Sure. So we're just talking about how we would cope if we found ourselves in a toxic. We're just talking about how we'd cope if we were in an emotionally.
I think we can let Jose come in for a while, and we get back to.
Okay, so anyone has anything to share with us?
So, Father, so we're just talking about how we'd cope if we found ourselves in an emotionally draining relationship. I want to know if there are coping skills in such a relationship. Are there coping skills if we find ourselves in an emotionally draining relationship?
Well, if you find yourself in an emotionally draining relationship, there are basically 5 cope skills.
Okay.
Okay. But today I would want us to just focus on 4.
There are skills in that,
yes,
coping skills?
Yes, there are skills.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The first one is to create your own personal peace.
Oh, okay.
There is a restaurant around East Legon, and I went to their washroom, and guess what I saw? Nobody can drive your car until you give them the key. Is that only it makes sense?
Nobody.
I can't drive your car until you give me your key.
Oh, obviously.
Okay, so nobody drives you crazy until you give them the key to your craziness.
Yes.
Okay, so if you realize that your partner is driving you crazy,
it only
take
means
your key.
It only means you've given them the opportunity.
Yes, you've given them an opportunity. And how do you start with? You start with creating your own peace. And I'll give, at this one, I'll be very practical here. So, for instance, there is this lady that was, I think, very, very emotionally draining to me.
Oh.
Maybe you want to know the story behind.
Yeah, I think you should share it. Yeah.
So, there's a person who has what we call dependency personality syndrome.
Oh.
This person, even if she has toothache, she wants to call father and tell. One evening she called me and she was complaining how traffic, meanwhile I had been in traffic for 3 hours to the house. You have been in traffic for just 30 minutes, you are talking. So all that I did was to create peace for myself. So I put the phone on loudspeaker, okay, and I was I was taking my dinner, And she was talking, Father, are you there? Oh, yes. Oh, then you will be talking. Oh, this is so sad. Meanwhile, Father, when she's talking, I'll be chewing my food and everything. I've created my own peace. Talk. Oh, brah, obejai.
Oh, but Father, maybe she needed a friend to talk to.
Exactly. But you see, everybody needs somebody to talk to. But if you become overly dependent, sometimes it can be annoying. I'm just talking about a regular relationship that it's only nice when once a while you buy, some nice shirt. You went to town, you saw something nice, you bought it for your boyfriend. It's cool, right? But your boyfriend is always demanding money from you. I mean, if it becomes too much, so you have to create your own peace. You understand? So if the person insults you every day, the person demeans you every day, try to find a way to create your own peace. So after the person is demeaning and everything, in your inner peace, you tell yourself, I'm not what you think I am. Okay, give yourself some accolade. You understand? So another example to this particular point is, you see, maybe your boyfriend never appreciates anything you do. Okay. One day when you close from work and you're like, why don't you pass through the mall and pamper yourself? Create your own peace. Okay. If he doesn't see anything nice in you and is cheating around with every other girl, stand in the mirror, see yourself, turn around, see yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice. I mean, give yourself, because nobody can drive you crazy until I give you the key. Yeah. That's the first point. The second one is gradually begin to establish boundaries.
Okay.
I may give you my key, but if I don't give you access to my gate, you can't take my car out. So I will, especially for people who are in emotionally draining relationship that they cannot stop, like in marriage. Yeah. You are already married. You cannot divorce, especially for majority of our viewers are Catholics.
Yes.
In the Catholic Church, there is nothing like divorce. We may annul your marriage for you. We may have separation for you, but there's nothing like divorce. And you can't do anything about it, right? So what do? Create boundaries for yourself. So for instance, you may let your partner know that, Charlie, I normally don't like taking calls after 10. Okay, so that if, for instance, you know very well that normally when your guy closes from work and the person has gone through a very tough day, then you come and pour it on you. That is annoying. So around 10, you tell yourself that I will not sleep with poison inside of me. Mm-hmm. So when it's 10, put off your phone. That's a boundary. Okay. And you put it on. I once a while I do it when I realize that it's getting too much. But it's unethical, so don't do it in your relationship and in your marriage. Okay.
How about if your partner is possessive and the kind that belittles you, and you've annulled your marriage or you are separated, and you've also drawn your boundaries, but he doesn't respect them?
You see, where people normally, if I draw a boundary for you, you fight it first. Imagine you come to my gates and it's locked. You first have to shake it to know whether it is locked. Mm-hmm. Every time there is a boundary, people will shake it first. Okay, but the unfortunate thing is that people set the boundaries, and at the end of the day, they will come and open the gate themselves. So I tell you that I don't like you calling me like 10 times a day, 20 times a day. I'm at work. Why do you want to do that? So your partner tries to, stop for a day or two. Then you yourself, hey, you see, the small thing I said to you, you are not calling me again. So you have gone to open the gate. Okay, so consistency is a word. Consistency, once you create a boundary, okay, be consistent on it. Once you are consistent on it, a time will come, your partner will begin to respect it. So that was your question, right? If your partner is not respecting the boundaries, okay, know that every boundary would have to be tested, whether it is logged. So be consistent. And when we realize that you are consistent on it, the person will gradually begin to know that that is you.
But there are some people, they don't budge.
Well,
they'll keep pushing and pushing.
That's one beautiful thing about the devil. Yes, you know, that's one sweet thing about the devil. In fact, the devil is a nice guy. You know why? There's one key word that you can't take from the devil. He's persistent.
That's
Very,
true.
very persistent.
You stop at nothing.
Anything he can do, he will do. So if the person will not respect your boundary, then know that then the person has crossed your boundary. If I don't respect your boundary, then I've crossed your boundary. It means that I don't deserve you. And some people may have to know that I don't deserve you. Okay.
Okay.
Then the point number 3. There's something called assertive training. You may have to learn, and most people in our sub-world here, especially in third world countries and developing countries, assertiveness is a problem. Okay, so we end up adding commentary to what we want to say, and at the end of the day, we lose it. Okay, so for instance, imagine I am abusing you emotionally by cheating on you with another lady or with other ladies. Okay, assertive person will tell me that, Tony, last Wednesday I saw you sleep with Akusia. I felt disrespected. I felt stupid. I felt very angry. I felt dishonored. That is an assertive person. You have told me how you feel. And you didn't smile at me and say, oh, I was feeling. No, I felt this way, I felt that way, I felt that way. And that is why I walked away. And that is why I was even crying. It wasn't that because I was useless, but I was so hurt to the point that I was crying. You have been assertive on me. But an unassertive person may do 2 things. Either will harbor it and will not say anything, which is bad, or may give commentaries, which is wrong. Oh, you are a cheat. You are a very useless man. You talk and talk and talk. So at the end of the day, you have abused me too. You have insulted me. So the difference between you and I, the difference between you and I is I am abusing you by cheating on somebody. Yeah. You are also abusing me verbally. So we are both abusing ourselves. But if you are very, very assertive, you will not harbor anything. You tell it as it is. You tell your man or your woman how it is and how you feel without offending the person. So sometimes people end up abusing us again and again because we are not coping well by being assertive.
I mean, in the heat of the moment, if you are angry and you are confused, you obviously say things that you mean to say, but then in the wrong way.
That is why I believe the Bible is the best psychology book. When you are overly emotional, don't talk. Don't act.
But then when you don't talk, they say you're being timid or you're scared.
I'm coming. See, let's use Herod as an example, and then I'll come to what you are talking about. Herod was so happy. Joy is an emotion, right? Yeah. When he was so happy, he killed somebody's son, John the Baptist. Mm-hmm. So when you are overly happy, overly sad, overly angry, everything overly, don't act. Now, why should you not act? And that is to your question now. An answer, a serious answer. Imagine, Jose, can you put your microphone on? And let me ask one, can we put the camera on one person? Choose a lady. Yeah. I know you like nice ladies. So choose.
Oh, no, I like young ones.
Wow. Hey, Jose. The world is watching you. Okay, so my dear, what's your name?
Shirley.
Shirley.
Yes.
Is it Shirley or Shirley? You know, I'm from Kumarika. You understand me? Yeah. So is it Shirley or Shirley?
Shells.
Shells. Oh, okay. Okay. So, how will you feel if I insulted you around the church premises when we just closed mass and everybody was watching you? And I pushed you, you fell on the floor. I insulted you and pushed you as you walk away. You're so angry, you told me this too. And you went home and realized that you were down, you